Hi everyone, my name's Ken and this is my wife Lindsay. We buy and sell the contents of storage lockers, and because we started doing that about a year ago, we've recently decided that we are going to start a YouTube channel to document this journey. The YouTube channel is this channel that we're introducing today. It's called Storage Savvy. And what we plan on talking about in the episodes is two things. One, documenting everything that we find in these storage lockers, as well as at least in the intro tonight, giving you the ups and downs and the pitfalls of what it is that we've learned in that first year of buying and selling storage lockers.
So let's tell them how we decided to do this.
At the time, my wife was working, and there was not a lot of time with the family, and honestly, she wasn't making a lot of money doing what she was doing. And we were trying to look at the ups and downs and the pros and the cons of her working outside of the house. And we decided that the cons definitely outweighed the pros, and so we decided to have her come in to the house, and we were trying to figure out how she could generate some money while we were doing that. So that being said, initially we started doing garage selling and estate sales, which that was fine, but we were running out of merchandise because the garage sale and the estate sales in Texas, at least in the DFW area where we're at, are really kind of seasonal. The estate sales are year round, but they're a little more scarce than the garage sales. The garage sales happen in the spring and the fall, but not really the winter or the summer. It's too cold and too hot.
It's like March, April, maybe May.
Yeah.
And then like October, November. That's it. Otherwise, it's miserable. Super hot or super cold.
So from there, we decided to look at something that was more year-round. So I started looking into flipping video games from pawn shops. Not just video games, really a bunch of different things from pawn shops, but really video games were prevalent. You could get them cheap, and oftentimes they would negotiate heavily on them.
They don't take up a lot of room.
They don't take up a lot of room.
They're easy to ship.
Everything we had fit in
in
a
one
closet.
little closet, like a one little 2 foot by 2 foot closet.
Right.
Closet.
Right. But the problem we found there, and DFW is no small place. I mean, I think there's a population of roughly 10 million people in DFW. But the problem I found is I had broken my routes into 4 quadrants. And once I went through the route, by the time I started the new quadrant, I was buying stuff faster than they could replenish it. In the pawn shop business, when they take in merchandise, it has to sit in the back for 30 days before it'll go out onto the floor. And so I was running out of merchandise. So we started trying to expand to Stephenville, Waco,
and not even just locations. Then you started like trying to source from different places like Facebook Marketplace and, like you had said, garage sales, but they're seasonal, and it just, there's a lot of competition on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp and all those,
right.
places
As a matter of fact,
you're like when Bill,
the guy that got me into this, he's a good friend of mine, and we were actually buying against each other, and there are numerous deals I lost, and I couldn't figure out why or who I lost it to. And then he'd call me up and say, "Hey, I got this great buy. Look what I got," and it was exactly what I just got beat out on. So what we found there is that with pawn shops and they're great to help supplement things and fill the gap.
You were doing pretty good. We
yeah.
just needed something more. We needed more. We needed more consistency.
Yeah. So
and we needed you spending less time just driving all over the place every weekend.
That's the other thing is I work Monday through Friday, and so it was taking up an entire weekend of me going and sourcing this stuff. So what we needed something where we could get merchandise for resale, but not spend so much time getting the merchandise for resale.
So how was it that you made the connection between like storage lockers? I mean, because we a couple years ago, but before doing this, we had watched Storage Wars, and we were like, oh, that sounds like a great idea, but we weren't really thinking about that when you were doing the video games. It seemed like you just walked into the bedroom one night and was like, why aren't we doing this?
Honestly, I started, I'm very OCD when it comes to research. Once I hook into something I'm interested, I will watch video after video after video after video. We had a resale business with firearms for a while, and I could probably tell you the feet per second a bullet leaves a specific make and model of a gun, because I'm such a fanatic about it. And one night I was watching videos, and I started out watching Froggy Flips. He was helping me with the garage selling. Then I moved to Phoenix Resale. Phoenix Resale was focusing on flipping video games. And one night the storage lockers popped up, and it was a reseller he has a YouTube channel as well called Locker Nuts. And I started watching his stuff, and he inspired me greatly because what he was doing was exactly what I thought would be a lot of fun. And it filled all those boxes that we were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you just walked into the bedroom one night and you were like, hey, we should do this storage locker thing. We should give that another chance. We should look into that. And I think you turned on Locker Nuts videos, and we were sitting in the bed and we were watching it.
Yep.
And I got all fired up, and I was like, well, let's just go to the website and see what's out there. And it was like, what, midnight? And we found one, and we're like, look, nobody's bidding on this. Let's just throw a bid down. And we threw a bid out, and then 10 o'clock the next morning, we won our first locker. It was that serendipitous. We just, on the spur of the moment, decided we're going to just do this.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there's probably 3 or 4 YouTubers out there that really influenced us with this, and you're probably gonna throughout our videos you're gonna hear us using certain catchphrases that these YouTubers use, and we're not doing it to make fun of anyone. It's because we've watched so many of their videos that now it's kind
imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah, it's kind of integrated
like
into
when we're doing
our
stuff,
lives.
we talk to each other and we start regurgitating these phrases that they say.
Yeah, well, with Locker Nuts, I think one of them is that's a good. With TD Collection or Collectors, which is another one. There's Sheesh, or with Bearded Thrift. There's Doll Hairs, and let's see, what else does he say? He says that's not too shabby.
Yeah.
So you'll hear us. We say that a lot, but I want to show you we're not making fun of anyone. It's more just because we've watched so many
right, and these
videos.
YouTubers are like inspirational to us. Like we've learned so much from them, and so we're just really kind of distilling the knowledge and handing it to you is what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but yeah, we bid on our the locker we were interested in that night. I think it went for what,
$160.
Yeah, $160. And it was a 10
and
by
we thought
25.
We got a great deal. We're like 10 by 25. We're just gonna go get a U-Haul. We will just clean that thing out, no problem.
Yeah. So the
upcoming videos we will discuss that in much more detail about how well and not well that went.
Yeah, it was horrible. what we learned is when you're our age, a locker full of furniture is probably not a great move. But it was it was really lucky for us because we did so well on that first locker, just because we got lucky.
It was absolutely luck, but it was the thing that got us hooked. From that point on, we were like, let's do this. We're all in.
Yeah, not only did we get a U-Haul, but if you remember, we went that evening because by the time we got there, it was already
like
night,
ended on like
and
a Friday or something,
cold.
or Thursday, like a weekday when it ended, and we had to wait till you got off work.
Yeah, I got off work.
And then we ran straight to the U-Haul place and mapped out the nearest U-Haul to the place, and then went straight over to the place, and it was already getting dark.
Yeah, it was dark. It was cold. It was foggy and misty.
It was miserable.
We got the largest U-Haul that you could possibly get, and we still didn't get it all on one trip.
It took us multiple trips.
Yeah, and it was. I was so sore and I thought I was gonna die at the end of it. But it all boiled down to moving one piece of furniture and finding something that not only paid for the entire locker, but it made us a very nice profit on that particular locker.
Yeah, we were sold from that point on.
Yeah, if it wasn't for us doing well on that one locker, we may not have kept doing it. But we were hooked immediately.
That resulted in us. So it was like you said, it was a 10 by 20 or 10 by 25. It was a pretty big
10 by
unit.
25.
It was a pretty large unit. It essentially was all the contents of someone's 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, is what it appeared to be.
Which the weird thing was, they lived right down the street from us.
Yeah. So the locker was like kind of far away. It was like 45 minutes away, but all their mail that they never threw away was an address that's right down the street from us. So that was kind of weird because we were like, oh man, those might be our name. Like we might run into them or something. But fortunately, this is like a big area, so it's really kind of hard to run into people. But so we ended up bringing that whole 3-bedroom, 2-bath house full of stuff into our house.
Yeah, I don't know why we thought that was a good idea.
I don't know why we thought that was a good idea either. We thought, oh, well, we got some space in the garage. Yeah, we didn't have that much space. We didn't have 10 by 25 space in our garage. Not filled to the ceiling, front to back, packed. No, we did not have that much space. And our kids hated us because it was months before we got through all that stuff because we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to process anything.
It literally looked like we were moving
our neighbors
out of our
were
house.
asking us, "Are you moving out? Are you guys moving? Where are you going?" Because we just had so much stuff everywhere. Oh, forever. That was a nightmare. So we'll get into more about what to do instead. But I mean, geez, that was horrible.
Yeah, but there are a lot of do's and don'ts that we learned that first year. We learned you don't bring all of it back to your house. We learned, she's more the logistics person, so we had to learn shipping and receiving through eBay, what channels we can get rid of this stuff through, what contacts out in the real world you have to move some of this, how to not only bid on a locker, but what to do once you bid on a locker, where to go to bid on the locker, how to pay for the locker.
There's problems you can run in with that. You know, there's a lot of problems, and there were so many things that we learned the hard way because we just didn't know. And as much as we learned from all of these YouTubers we watched, there was little things that just weren't covered that we just didn't know. We didn't know, so we want to share those kinds of things with you guys. If you're thinking about doing this, if you were like us and watched Storage Wars and are like, oh yeah, that'd be so cool, we should do that. We want to encourage you that you can do it and try to help you not run into all the same problems that we ran into. Be smarter. Now, we've only been doing this a year, so we're not experts by any means.
Not even
But
close.
all of those mistakes are still fresh in our mind. And so we felt like, you know what, before we get into this too deep, before we're like well seasoned and down the road and we've forgotten all these little things, we need to document this so other people can know. Because like when we watch Locker Nuts, for example, they've been doing it a while. They're like experts over there, and they don't cover some of that stuff. Their focus is more about what they're finding, right? Which is the exciting part. I agree, but and that is all very exciting, but it didn't help us to not step in doo-doo like a bunch of times.
Well, and I would say if you are interested in doing this, it's a very low risk. I mean, you have to look at these lockers from the standpoint of one, if you mention it to anyone in your family, your friends, or anyone around you, they all look at you like you're crazy. First of all, they'll immediately say, "Oh wow, that sounds like so much fun," but then they kind of give you this look like, you're going to lose all your money by doing this.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck. That doesn't seem very stable to me.
Oh, you got lucky this time, but you're gonna hit one soon that's gonna be a bummer.
It took about a year for us before some of our family and friends stopped going, well, you got lucky here, you got lucky here, you got lucky here, to now they're actually going, oh well, good luck on this, and I think you're gonna do well. They're more supportive now than they were in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, they were definitely questioning this like we had lost our mind.
Yeah.
But I would say if you're interested in this, one, don't listen to the naysayers, because there's definitely money to be made out there. Yeah. You're not going to hit it big on every locker. There are going to be some lockers that you may break even. I don't think we've ever been upside down on a locker. Knock on wood.
Not even the crackhead lockers.
But there have been some that we've only broken even on, and because what people don't understand is most people look at this and say, if I bid $1,000 on a locker, I'm risking $1,000. That's not true. You're risking $1,000 minus what you see in the pictures that you can immediately sell. If there's something in there that you see, for instance, the first locker that we bid on, there was a ton of furniture in there, but there was some mid-century modern furniture, and we knew that the mid-century modern furniture that was in there, we could at least get what we were bidding on. So we had nothing to risk except for our time and the cost of the truck. But what
the truck costs like 2.5 times the amount that the locker itself cost us. That was crazy.
But what other people look at is they look at it and they say, oh well, you're bidding $1,000, you're going to lose $1,000. And at the end of the day, that's not necessarily true.
I mean, there's ways to
mitigate.
Exactly. So, and we can share that with you, like the way, our sort of process for determining what a locker is worth and if we want to even bid on it or not.
Yeah, we, when we look at lockers in Texas, it gets very, and we so touched on this earlier, it gets very hot and very cold. And so you have lockers that are indoor lockers that are climate controlled, and then you have lockers that are outdoor units that are not climate controlled. If you go after a non-climate controlled locker, it's not guaranteed that everything's going to be ruined, but I would say there's a higher probability of those things being ruined from the heat and the cold. For instance, if you get vinyl, like records, albums, and there's a box in an outdoor locker versus an indoor locker, most of those albums, there's chances are they're going to be warped.
They're going to be warped from the heat. Anything that's old or vintage that's plastic, the plastic's going to yellow from the heat. Any kind of like dishes or pottery or whatever from the shifting temperatures. And our winters here are crazy, where it can be 80 degrees on Monday and not negative 20, but it can be, down
-2,
sub-freezing temperatures the next day. So that constant shifting of heat and cold makes crazy happen, and all the porcelain. I mean, so it just ruins things. We have really humid parts of the year, so then mold starts creeping in on stuff, and we don't have cold enough winters to get rid of the bugs. So if it's an outdoor unit and they put anything that's like food in there, it's going to be totally covered with bugs, totally covered with mouse poop. I mean, the outdoor lockers are just kind of, there's got to be something good and something that's like definitely weatherproof, or more industrial type things to sort of draw our attention to an outside unit. But
Yeah, and we're not saying we won't ever bid on an outdoor locker.
there just has to be something special.
Yeah, I mean,
and our first one that we did was an outdoor unit where we learned a
right.
lot of this. Oh, and flooding can happen.
Flooding's a big thing. I mean, and normally you can tell an outdoor versus an indoor just by the front of the locker. If there's a lip, it's an outdoor. If there's no lip, there's an indoor. That's in Texas. I can't speak for every state, but in Texas, that's the key to look for. But we bid on outdoor lockers. We bid on indoor lockers. The amount that we bid on an outdoor locker is reduced by a percentage of our overall estimation.
We
just
can get into
because
more
it's
detail
outdoor,
on future
right.
lockers on this stuff.
Right.
I mean, future lockers, future videos on things like this. We can discuss in more detail, and we'll go into all of that. How we pick them, and I think we're going to go back through the year with whatever pictures and footage that we have and dissect like every one of the lockers that we did and what was good about it and what was a bad, like this was a horrible mistake. And if we had to do it again, we might have avoided this one, or we might have still gone with this one, but we might have done this differently. So you guys can see those things and see how to not step in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are our goals for this year? So I feel like we made a lot of progress in our first year. We came really far. We made, a reasonable amount of money considering it's, both of us working kind of part-time at it. And, we upgraded, we got a van, we got some stuff. We did some, we learned a lot of things, and I feel like we've kind of just now hit our stride a year into it. So what are our goals for 2025?
Well, I think one of the things that I was targeting for a goal, and we've talked about this, is right now, most of our processing is still done here. We'll instead of trying
here
to
being
get
our house.
Yeah, here being our house. Instead of bringing everything back in a 48-hour period, we now normally rent out the storage facility for 30 days, kind of go through the garbage and then bring stuff back here and process the
But we're still primarily processing here. We're just getting rid of some preliminary trash at the units.
And that's a bottleneck for us because like I said earlier, I work Monday through Friday, so I have Saturday and Sunday to be the muscle and bring it back, and so she can process it Monday through Friday. And it's really slowing us down because she can start processing it, but there's only so much of it we can bring back at a time. So one of our goals is to find some warehouse space and get her set up in a warehouse where Saturday and Sunday I can go out, I can bring one back on Saturday, another one back on Sunday, and at least where it's taking us 3 weeks to process something now because we can only bring back so much each Saturday. This way, I can knock out 1 to 2 lockers a weekend, take it over there, have her process that while I'm working on the next locker.
Yeah.
And so I would say find some warehouse space is going to be a key for us. We have the van.
I think another key area of concern for us is right now our really only way of selling things is like our twice a year yard sales that our HOA lets us have and eBay.
Yeah.
And that's it. We dabbled in Whatnot for a little bit, but we weren't really.
We're not giving up on Whatnot.
We need to. I should say we're not giving up on Whatnot, and I shouldn't say that it didn't work for us. I would just say we don't know what we're doing enough to make it work for us.
Right.
So we need to figure out the Whatnot situation. So
figure
we can
out
be
other avenues to get rid of the things.
Yeah.
And the avenues that we're targeting are Whatnot.
Maybe
eBay,
a flea market.
A flea market
There's
maybe
a lot
once a
around
month.
Here.
So increase our platforms is another goal, and then also really look at the things that we've been selling, because from the first one till now we've already refined that down. But in the first one we were trying to sell everything. I mean, we're posting everything, and number one, it's taking
That's
a ton
very
of
time
time.
consuming to do.
Number two, it really slows you down. And so,
I mean, and that was great because I was selling a lot of stuff, but my shipping days were like taking me all day to get the shipping done because I would have so much stuff to ship, and it was all stuff that was like $4 or $3, and I'm thinking this is not worth it.
Right. So we want to look at the items that we're selling, and we want to refine that down to a certain dollar number and above. So we're looking at it from more of a standpoint of an hourly rate. Like what's our hourly time worth, and how much are the items that we need to sell so we can make that hourly rate.
Mm-hmm. And then we also need to find a way to get rid of those sort of mid-tier items, like the things that aren't worth nothing, but they're maybe not worth it to post on eBay, for example.
Right.
So we're trying to. I think that's another major goal that we have for 2025 is figuring out how to get rid of that stuff.
And not everything, you can't sell everything on eBay, right?
Right.
Because we're really pushing our limit with some of the things that we have posted there now because they're so heavy.
Right.
So we are looking for platforms that we can get rid of larger things, which that goes back to the warehouse too. If we have warehouse space, we could get rid of more furniture.
Well, we could get rid of things that
furniture,
are too big for us
washers
to bring
and
back
dryers,
and sell now.
appliances,
Yeah.
things that right now we're either donating where we can or we're throwing them away, but we don't have space here to store
house
them.
all those things.
Right.
And even you could say, okay, well, if you just price it low enough, you can turn it around real quick. But we're so full up on, we have no room. Like I couldn't even, if we were to bring home a washer or a dryer tomorrow, I would literally have to put it in the dining room or the kitchen because there's no more space anywhere else to put it. So that I can't have that in my house for even a week if it takes
Right.
to sell it. I just can't.
Well, and so far we
can't even have people, our HOA really prevents us from, we're not supposed to have people
Foot
come to our
traffic. No
house
foot
and have
traffic.
foot traffic here. So sometimes when we, the occasional time that we do have somebody, come here to pick up something, I think we had somebody come get a recliner a while back, early on when we were first selling things. And we had somebody come get a recliner, and we felt like, oh my gosh, we're really pushing it because if people see that we're doing that, we can get in trouble with our HOA. And
Right.
I don't want to haul a recliner across town to do a Facebook meet. I mean, that's just, these are the problems that we're facing.
Yeah, we really hate to throw away something that's usable.
Right.
And so far we've been working with churches and a friend of mine that works with veterans and getting veterans some of these items. So we're trying to be creative in ways that we can get rid of it without throwing it away. But some of it, I mean, it's not usable because it's just not in good condition. But two, there are organizations that are very picky about what you can donate to them and what you can't donate to them.
Right.
And so we're trying to find other avenues that we can.
We called a charity
this.
2 weeks ago and said, hey, we get a lot of stuff that's usable, that somebody could really probably benefit from. What can we bring to you? And they went into this whole thing about well, if you have plates or dishes, you have to have a matching set of 4 or we won't accept it. I mean, it was very, very specific, all these things. And I thought, I don't have time to go down this long list and just pull the things that they're willing to accept and you have to move fast. You can't, one thing that we're finding is that you'll be working on one locker forever if you try to take that road. You've got to find an efficient, fast way to do it, and piecing stuff out for a specific charity that will only take, certain things a certain way isn't going to work for us.
Right.
And that's a shame.
Well, and we're trying to increase the amount of lockers that we did last year.
Right, by a lot.
Yeah, and
how many did we do last year?
I think we counted 13.
13 or 14.
It was 14, but three of them we really didn't count because they were more learning experiences.
We
go into those.
fondly call those the crackhead lockers.
Yeah. One thing
because all of them had crack pipes in them. That's why we call them the crackhead lockers.
Yeah, there in one locker there was 10 crack pipes, and I don't even know if you can say crack pipe on YouTube or not, but there were glass smoking implements.
There you go. Amongst other fun things.
Yeah, amongst adult implements, we'll call it that. But it's a blast. I would say
so
if you can do it, and this is something that interests you, don't let other people hold you back. Absolutely try it. I mean, the best thing I can compare it to is Christmas Day for adults, because you literally don't know what's in the next box.
It's so exciting when we win the lockers. It's like I feel bad for Ken because I get to be the one that runs down and goes and opens up the locker, and I get to see it first, and he has to wait until he gets off work to come out there and meet me out there. But it's never like, oh no, gotta go clean out another locker. It's always like, yes, it's Christmas. Poor Ken. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's the disadvantages, but it's very exciting. And what we mean by that is there's a lot of work. Don't get us wrong. There's a lot of work in doing this, but it's
like
one of
a
those
workout.
things.
It's literally like how we get our physical exercise.
I don't mind going and spending a Saturday or a Sunday, all day or all weekend cleaning out one of these lockers, because
it's that
literally,
much fun.
yeah, you don't know what's going to be behind. I mean, for instance, and this is not really a spoiler, because well, maybe it is a spoiler, but but we cleaned out a locker recently, and literally there is an ice chest on top, stacked up. I moved the ice chest, and there's a lock safe directly under it, and you have no idea the level of excitement that runs through you when you see a lock safe and there's stuff rattling around in it.
Oh my gosh. I thought I was going to pee my pants.
Oh, yeah.
I was so excited. And then we were so disappointed. Like, we were doing everything we could to figure out how to get into that safe. And then on top of that, that locker had so many keys, like probably 200 keys in it. And we were trying all the keys, and none of the keys were the right key.
I had the right key the entire time.
Yeah.
It was a hammer and a crowbar. I mean, it got right in there.
Yeah, well, we didn't have that there. We had to do it when we got home. But we did get in it, and we'll share that in another video with you another time. But anyway.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up this video. What we'd like you to look out for in the future is we're going to be posting videos in the near future, recapping some of our lockers from 2024. And then when we finish this first locker that we're working in 2025, we'll get you a video of that as well.
Of the current lockers we're working on. So it'll be like intermixed. There'll be the 2024 lockers and then the 2025 lockers. Yep. Kind of coming at you with all that.
Yeah, and please, we urge you guys to subscribe, share, and like our videos so we can grow this channel together.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.